going to take the North and never give it back.
So that's a good pick. You get the corner.
Man, I'm confident in our offense.
Welcome back to the Unbearable Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Brad Barron. Make sure to like and subscribe out there on YouTube and rate the show 5 stars everywhere that you get your podcasts, because you could be in the giveaway for the Darnell Wright jersey. Just rate the show 5 stars on Apple Podcasts, and when we get to 58 5-star ratings, then we will be announcing who gets the Darnell Wright jersey live on the show. Also, you want to make sure that you stay tuned, so make sure to subscribe. Every subscriber is one more passing yard that Justin Fields will throw. Not this weekend, though. Isn't that right, Johnny PayPal? We just got breaking news that Justin Fields will not be playing this weekend. But first off, PayPal, how are you doing, my friend?
Yeah, it's a bummer with that, but yeah, I'm doing good. I don't know if anyone even notices, but it's really nice that I have my monitor it was not working for a little bit, and then I basically changed the cord. It was HDMI that was not working, so I changed it to I never knew what those cords were that had those like the screws that you basically have to put in.
You have one of those old ones?
Yeah, I got one of those old ones that you like put in, and it's working fantastic. So got it off of Amazon. I had no idea what it was called. I still don't. And it worked. So instead of having to buy a new monitor, it was like, all right, just switch to cable, and
it's one of those like old ones? Like,
yeah, one of those ones that it kind of like they kind of screw in on like 2 sides. Yeah.
You're connected via VGA and
VGA. Yep.
You're going old school with it, but hey, glad to have you with the monitor and everything like that. But yeah, PayPal, like what we were just talking about, Justin Fields not playing. But let's talk about, and the big reason, right, is that they've been practicing against the Indianapolis Colts. This Saturday, they will be going against the Indianapolis Colts. And it's reported by Larry Mayer and many others that kind of the reason they were already playing the Colts. But let's talk a little bit about training camp. And the big thing is that there was a lot of training camp brawls that were going on out there on the practice field. But PayPal, anything else that you kind of heard just to kind of wrap up like what happened this week at Indianapolis?
Yeah, I mean, I guess, yeah, the big thing was the brawl with, we'll name who the guy is. But yeah, it seemed like it was a good, I actually didn't hear too much like on like the play itself. There's not anything that really jumped my mind of like, okay, we need to talk about this. But one thing I did find is really cool that each player kind of talked about in their interview. First of all, Kyler Gordon is like super confident. Like he is so hyped about this season, but it seems like this was such a cool experience for all the players and all the rookie players. Kind of learning like they're away from their home field, like away from Chicago, and they're going to this foreign land, and like all you have is your team to kind of hang out with and kind of bond with. So I think it was a really good experience besides just playing football against another team. I think it sounds like they had a lot of dinners, they had a lot of time together as a team, which I think that's been a reoccurring theme of like, that's what teams need, is that behind the scenes hanging out to really become that elite football team.
I like that. And also too, I feel like they needed that because they said that they also wanted to hit other people. They were tired of just hitting the same people over and over again. And what I love hearing is that Tyreek Stevenson is getting in the face of people, like he's talking some smack out there at corner. And Chase Claypool, who did not play at all this week, was backing him up and kind of like normally these two are going at it, but they're kind of backing up the swag, backing up the trash talk. Now, I did hear some people that it sounds like some of the Bears coaches, they are a little nervous that maybe some people might be trying to attack Stevenson's fire, but it's like, your corner. I love it. Like if you're a corner that plays with that, I love it. So
and honestly, I would love to see them do the same thing they did last week and attack Stevenson. Keep giving him reps, keep giving him, keep throwing it his way. Cause like he needs to grow, and like I just love seeing when they throw it to him, just because it's like, okay, like we get more screen time with him, and yeah. So I enjoy them when they do that.
And some other news too, just from the camp. Overall, from camp, it just seemed similar to like what we've already seen. Justin Fields was throwing some pretty good passes and also had a handful of interceptions. So still some ups and downs, but also the defense was playing pretty well. And so just kind of all over the place. I felt like it was kind of par for the course, really.
Yeah,
That's what I'm kind of gathering from just like scrolling through Twitter.
yeah, exactly. It wasn't anything like surprising. I guess the big thing, I wonder, now I don't think this would play into it. I don't think it was that big of a hit, but I know people were like all mad about, which I kind of was. I got super like
Oh, yeah.
really mad right as I saw it. I'm like, when the defensive lineman on the Colts like basically rammed right into Justin Fields' leg. You could kind of tell, like when I first saw the video, I was like, dude, that guy has to get
Yeah.
fired.
Get
Like,
out of here.
yeah, get out of here. Chicago Bears fans should have stormed and like, attacked the guy or something. But you could tell the guy didn't blatantly do it. He was trying to like avoid Fields' leg. It didn't seem like it was a huge deal, but anything with Justin Fields is like, oh gosh,
Just
like,
don't touch him.
yeah, don't touch him. It was scary.
Yeah, and unfortunately, just like all my other training camp updates, we do have to talk about injuries. So just some people that were not practicing today: Eddie Jackson, Tyler Scott, Valus Jones, Tremaine Edmonds, DeMarquise Gates, Lucas Patrick, Jaquan Brisker, Josh Blackwell, Treston Ebner, and Chase Claypool. I don't think I mentioned him. And also, Cody Whitehair went down today with an injury to his hand as well. So, PayPal, let's talk about these starters out here, because they said that, hey, right, they're going to be benching some of these starters this week. The big one is Justin Fields, and they say select starters. So we'll be talking about that when we break down the starters, to say who is going to be these select starters. I think that's what I'm
Yeah.
actually most excited about too. Is I think some of the select ones will be people that are banged up, but I think the other select starters are going to be probably those that are super valuable, like DJ Moore. Who else would you put as so valuable that they shouldn't play?
Yeah, it's like who's earned it, you know?
Yeah.
And yeah, I agree. It's like DJ Moore, it's like, why do you even need to play him? I would say Braxton Jones for me has earned it. I mean, he looks
Yeah.
great out there. Cody Whitehair looks great there too. And as the center, I mean, like for that, I'm like, put in Lucas Patrick or even just like a Doug Kramer, especially Doug Kramer. He's the one that needs the most experience out of all of them. Um, like our offensive line just looked great.
Yeah.
Obviously keep, like a Darnell Wright or something in there, but Braxton Jones and Cody Whitehair kind of step out for me. And then Nicole Kmet also on this offense. It's like he looks very mature out there, even though he's, 24.
Yeah. I also put TJ Edwards out there. I think TJ Edwards might be one of those where you kind of know what you're getting with him. You paid him some, not big money, but you did pay him a 3-year contract. I'm curious if he would be one, or even like an Andrew Billings, potentially being a veteran that has been out there a whole bunch. It'll definitely be interesting, because this could be that game 4 of it could be that game 4 of the preseason back in the day, where everybody was a backup, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it could be that, because they've already seen a lot of these starters going against the Colts. So, PayPal, let's actually get into our starters and start talking about this, because our starters, like we said, take this with a grain of salt, because there's going to be some that aren't out there. We just changed it right before. And I think also we didn't update the backups and what we're calling the hopefuls now, because they're going to be roster hopefuls. I guess go through one of them that you do have as a backup, or as a starter.
This was one of the ones that we had to change right away, Brad. And
Yeah.
it was my change to Justin Fields to PJ Walker. Like, honestly, it is a bummer that Justin Fields didn't play, or isn't playing this game, because I think we all just wanted to see a little bit more. Like, we can't get enough of him, but it's like we wish we could have saw more like talented plays from him. Like
Yeah.
really showing his arm strength, really showing his speed or something. But hey, we'll take what we can get. He got his confidence high. He got 2 touchdowns and 3 passes. So, he did his job. So, yeah, I have PJ Walker as kind of that honestly my number 1 watch for this quarterback room because
I like it.
he looked terrible, Brad.
Yeah, he did.
So can he kind of step up? Like, was that just kind of a fluke? Because I mean, if he keeps playing like that, like we kind of talked about it last show of, I mean, Tyson Badgett, like, why wouldn't you have him as like that second quarterback then? Because he has the speed. He's kind of that guy that, he could play the Justin Fields offense, obviously it's Tyson Badgett, not Justin Fields, but he has the speed and physicality to try and do that. Unlike a Nathan Peterman. So PJ Walker, can he step up and kind of, you know, prove that he's the second string in front of Nathan Peterman and Tyson Badgett?
Yeah, and those watching, let me know down below, who is your number 1 player that on the offense that you're going to be watching out of the starters or quote unquote starters that will be out there. PJ Walker, I couldn't say it better myself. He sucked. He's been good now, and he's the guy that we gave a multi-year deal to. I know some might even say Tyson Badgett, should be the guy that's out there, but he still needs time. And we've seen what Caleb Mania was able to do to us Bears fans. So let's see what goes on with that. But over on my side, I'll go with the person that I replaced on my list with Justin Fields, and he's on your list as well. That's Khalil Herbert, number 24, the running back. I had him on my list. I removed him like 5 different times. And Khalil Herbert's on this list for me because we saw the 1 pass blocking snap, and he whiffed. I want to see this guy as an exclusive pass blocker. We know he can run the football. We know he can break these tackles. I feel comfortable with him catching the ball. But when we hear that Roshan Johnson is awesome and getting first team reps now, I think a big reason is because, listen, Khalil, you keep missing these blocks. And number 1 is the franchise. Maybe that's why they're saying, PJ Walker, dude, you go out there and Khalil's going to block for you. And if it goes bad, it goes bad. So be it, right? That's to me something that I'm going to be watching for. But I know you had Khalil too. Is it the same, or do you have a different reason why you're watching?
Oh yeah, it's the same thing. Yeah, can he block? And honestly, like, just show us a run that makes you prove it that you're the number 1 running back. I think we need something to talk about to be like, okay, this is why Khalil Herbert is number 1. Because it's like we just keep talking about Roshan Johnson. You know what I mean? Like we need something from Khalil to be like, hey, this is why he's the number 1 back. But yeah, kind of the number 2 guy on my list, and we'll see if he is even out there, is Nate Davis. Like, please, I just want to see him out there. Again, this is kind of where it's questionable. Is he going to be out there? It sounds like it's totally a coach's decision. He kept repeating that during his press conference. It was almost getting like he was going to get mad or something. But yeah, it was. Hopefully, we can just see him out there because, man, Brad, I've seen enough of Ja'Tyre Carter. Like, he could take Nate Davis' spot. And honestly, at this time, it's a hot take, but I think he could take Nate Davis' spot, and I'd be happy. Like the way he played, I'm happy with it. So can Nate Davis go out there and kind of show what he's made out of? Let's see.
I like that. Ja'Tyre Carter, spoiler alert, is on my second string for the backups, and I think he's on yours as well, where he looked phenomenal. And I think it was like the Football Scout did a breakdown of the offensive line, and you see what Carter was able to do. And just watching the game back, he didn't suck. And here's your backup offensive lineman that played well. And here we're saying, right, Alex Bars, where he's that guard that is solid. But if he's giving you plus play, that's where I can't wait to see him. But I like Nate Davis out there. I'll go with the other guard. And maybe both of these guys aren't going to be out there, but Tevin Jenkins, number 76, left guard, because when I was watching the tape, this is more of just like a fun one because he's really good. And I know we talked about this last year, like how how much of last year will translate this year with him shifting over to right guard to left guard? And what it looks like right now is it looks like he's not really skipping a beat, because when I was rewatching the tape, you saw him put people into the dirt.
Yeah.
You saw him be in the right spot. You saw him have that speed and get to the next level. He's looking really good. So I just can't wait to see him out there again.
Yeah, it's crazy. When you actually watch kind of what he's doing, it's like he's a massive human being, but then yeah, it's like he's also smart, which just it's a deadly combo.
And
So yeah.
yeah, and actually, I'll just fly through some of my lists too right here, because I basically have the other offensive linemen. Because
Yeah.
you had Nate Davis as one, I had Braxton Jones, Tevin Jenkins, and Darnell Wright all on my list for the exact same reason. I think that running the football is going to be so important, and I just want to see this unit working together as one solid unit. And I'm also curious too, which one of these is part of the select group that's not going to be out there as a starter. I hope it's all three: Braxton Jones, Jenkins, and Darnell, just so we can get more tape on him, especially Darnell Wright. We only saw 3 pass blocking snaps, and if you really think about it, it was only one, because the other
Yeah.
one was on a screen, and that one snap looked good. But let's see some more out there with Darnell Wright. I think that he should get some more snaps, get more acclimated to the game. So that's where it's basically we have the entire offensive line as someone to watch with these starters.
Yeah, I think, yeah. Can Darnell Wright, like, he should be? I feel like as a rookie, he should be playing with like the second team. He should be going out there even in the second quarter, just to get more reps, like live reps. But yeah, just to knock out. I had Chase Claypool,
Yeah.
but I mean, well, he's definitely not going to be playing. I just want to see him out there. He just seems like I think he'd be one of my favorite receivers on this team, just because he's got that big play, he's got that big body, and he can get up and catch the ball. But like Darnell Mooney was kind of my second if he does play. Um, didn't get a catch last game, so like, can we see him instead of just blocking out there? Can we see him pass? Catch a pass out there, so to kind of see if he's just up to form. Some people I think the injury is a concern. I don't think so, but still,
There,
it'd be nice to just see him out there and catch a ball.
speaking about Darnell Mooney's just run blocking, rewatching some of the running snaps, he blocked a defensive end
Oh
because
my
they were
god, I didn't
running
know
to the
that.
right side, and he just, it wasn't like he was on him like crazy, but they asked him to basically kind of like push the defensive end back, and he did that. He went across, pushed him back, gave Khalil Herbert, like on the 10-yard run by Khalil Herbert, you see little Mooney just pound that. And then you also see on DJ Moore's screen touchdown, Darnell Mooney holding his block for exactly how long you need him to. He's small, but he was out there blocking it, and he's a ferocious guy. That's where you love to see it. But I also
Mhm.
agree too. Darnell was another one that I wanted on my list, just because I wanted to see him and Fields get a quick pass.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted to see. But who's your last one?
Yeah, I mean, if we're talking about great run blockers, why not talk about the
Yeah.
best run blocking tight end in the whole entire football is Cole Kmet. Like, I think we kind of watched like the similar like stuff this weekend, Brad, like this
Yeah.
week, of like you see in slow mo, like you can really see like how blocking develops and everything. And it's Cole Kmet just always takes on his guy, and always he'll help out other blockers. He just always does his job. And I don't know. I was hoping to just maybe see a pass to a tight end, because I
Mhm.
don't know if we even. I mean,
We
we
didn't really see
saw,
any.
yeah, we saw like
I don't think a
Jared
single
Pinkney
one.
get one, maybe, I think. And then Stefan Carlson got one. But yeah, like, can one of those starters or backup like a Robert Tonyan, Cole Kmet get a catch?
Yeah, and actually on my watch list, crazy enough, I have Robert Tonyan, number 18, as a starter, because I'm not even thinking about the true starters, but he went in there with Cole Kmet. And the reason why I want to see him is because he showed that he was not a good run blocker. We knew this about him. So I'm curious, what does he look like if he's out there with the running game? So part of me hopes that Cole Kmet isn't out there with the starters. So, okay, Tanyan, let's say in a bad situation where Cole Kmet is down, what can you do as the number one tight end? Or do we really have to dig into Mercedes Lewis as that blocking tight end for us? Because we're all about running the football. We're all about a tight end that can block. And Tanyan just had some bad blocking snaps out there. But PayPal, let's flip over to the starters on the defensive side of the ball that we'll be watching. Same type of deal where we don't know what starters are going to be out there because of this select starter approach. Now, I'll break down at least kind of my group because I have basically every defensive end. Because every defensive end, Yannick is not going to be out there. Doesn't sound like he's been practicing, or no one's really reported on him practicing. So my guess, he won't be out there. But I have Rasheem Green, DeMarcus Walker, and Dominique Robinson. So 94 for Green, 95 for Walker, and 90 for Dominique Robinson. DeMarcus Walker was back at practice this week, but I still don't feel like he's going to be the starter, or he's going to be playing just because of that being banged up. So my gut feels like he's not going to play, but I want to see if he's out there at least. So just keep an eye out for 95 if he's there. But I know for a fact, Rasheem Green, Dominique Robinson, 94 and 90 are going to be out there. And I'm curious what they do. Because when we're starting to talk about the backups, we'll definitely break down these defensive ends and how well they've looked. So it's about these quote-unquote starters in the preseason for them to make a name. So I will definitely be watching Dominique Robinson a lot more this time around. And Rasheem Green, I hope that they have them out there a little bit more because I truly do want to see them playing so that we can get more snaps because, man, those backups look good.
Yeah, right. The backups look good. And that's something I think I have like Andrew Billings and Justin Jones as kind of my guys to watch. Like if they are starting out there, if they are playing out there, is that for I still go back to that first team defense just did not look like amazing out there. You really I really wanted them to go out there and stop the Titans to just stop them. But it was like we didn't generate enough pressure. Our linebackers were just not, getting tackles and falling through. But I think Andrew Billings, Justin Jones, like, can they kind of make some surprising plays out there? Andrew Billings just take on two blockers and free up the linebackers. They didn't really have too many highlight plays last week, so can they do a highlight play this one?
I like that. And because I was tempted to put that too, because just stop the run. For God's sake, just stop the run. We don't want to see that anymore. And I know that the last two that I have are same two that you have as well. I have Jack Sanborn and Tyreek Stevenson. Stevenson, I just know with the speedy receivers from the Colts, I want to see how he keeps up with them. They always like to have fast receivers out there. So how do you deal with someone who is going to be faster than you? Because we saw last week, he was able to catch up with some with his long speed. But for me, Jack Sanborn, similar to what you said, PayPal, the reason why I'm watching him is to stuff the run. He had in my opinion, I thought that he had a bad game last week. Let's see if he can bounce back, especially since if TJ Edwards isn't playing and Tremaine Edmonds most likely, I mean, you pretty much guarantee he's not going to be out there. I'm curious if it's going to be him and Sewell that will be getting the starting reps. You have two people that are kind of fighting for that starting Sam linebacker job right next to each other. The tape's going to be easy to grind with that. But PayPal, grind the last three that you have on your list as well.
Yep. Yeah, I think Sanborn and Stevenson, you kind of took care of it. I think, honestly, Stevenson is just out there too. I just think he's super fun to watch because he's such a physical corner. I think it's fun to see him tackle, oddly enough, as a cornerback. He's just one of those fun guys to watch tackle. But yes, you hit Sanborn right on the head. But yeah, then my last one, this is just, it's all these have been kind of, we want to see them do something. Kyler Gordon, I just want to see him just because he's been
Yeah.
so much fun to watch as well. Like Tyreek Stevenson, he's just so fun. Like you can tell he's got this confidence, this swagger now. Um, yeah, can he just be rocking people again this week and honestly get an interception hopefully and show off his celebration? That would be awesome.
Hey, he got an interception in practice today, and he went over to the defensive backs coach, and I think Nicholas Moriano said they both did the Spider-Man.
Oh,
So, yeah, I'm like, I don't know if he should be doing it. Like we said, you got to have at least a 40-inch vertical like Kyler Gordon so that it looks cool. Like if I did it, it'd look lame. If Kyler does it, it looks awesome. So, and also I will say, I hope Kyler's not out there, because if Kyler's not out there, it means that the Bears really do think great of him, that, listen, this guy's been balling. We don't need to see any more from this guy. But like you said, PayPal, we just put them on our list because we want to see more of these guys. But let's flip over to the backups, which might be the starters this time around. PayPal, let's stick with the defense. For the defensive backups. And let me just pull this up, because I think on one of these, we basically had the exact same list, but it's not with the defense. So break down, who are you most excited to see with this, the defensive backups? So those second strings that will be coming in.
So honestly, I it's hard to say when this guy will get in. But if Mikael Walker, if he comes in, the new guy from Atlanta, I'm excited to see what he seems like an athletic linebacker. Like it seems like Falcons fans are like, oh, thank God we got rid of him. But you look at his stats and it's like, man had like 2 interceptions. He had like a handful of tackle for losses, like over 100 tackles. So like, why are you crapping on this guy? You know, like,
Yeah,
I'm so glad the Bears picked him up. Like, why not? You know, we
totally.
were all kind of saying, hopefully, none of Dang's fans are listen, or his family or anything's listening. But it's like we knew he was not gonna make the team, so it's like might as well bring someone in, make it a little bit more competitive. I'm excited to just kind of see who this player is, because all these other players we've kind of been analyzing and we've seen them before now. So he's kind of the fresh player on this list. Just kind of see what he's up.
I like that. And two, I love the signing as well. We mentioned this before on our show that the Bears seem like they don't love their backup linebacker situation, probably after Sewell. And that's where, when you have this former starting linebacker that looked good in short spurts, but when he was asked to be the starting linebacker, really did struggle for the Falcons. So why not bring him in, like you said? I think that that's a great move, especially when you get rid of Dang, who just did not look good. But I'm actually going to stick at the linebacker position with my defensive backups to watch. And I've already said this guy might be starting out there due to benching some of the starters, and that's Noah Sewell, number 44, because, like we said, Sam linebacker, it's going to be an interesting position to watch. I think we've talked a lot about Sewell. He's shown great instincts, someone I'm definitely going to be watching out for. But PayPal, we do have 2 overlaps, and I feel like it's going to be the same. It's the same as everyone else that's listening. We both have Travis Gibson and Terrell Lewis for obvious reasons. 99 and 52. They had 2 sacks from Terrell Lewis and 1 sack from Travis Gibson. So how many sacks this week, PayPal? That's what Bears Bones is asking. How many sacks?
Yeah, how many sacks? I mean, heck, like, can we do better? I mean, 8 sacks is 8 sacks. I don't remember the last time I've seen 8 sacks. It's been at least probably a year and a half.
Against us. You know?
Yeah, against from our team to the other team, sacking him that much. But man, yeah, you see how much it helps just the entire defense when that front 4 is just playing like that. It helps the secondary. It just creates so many turnovers. The quarterback just looks in duress the entire time, which is awesome.
Yeah.
But man, yeah, I think Terrell Lewis and Travis Gibson, sign them up for both 2 sacks each, 4 sacks total.
Yeah.
Travis Gibson was definitely due for more sacks last week. I want to see, does he still have that high motor like he played with, or is he is he gonna like kind of regress and be like, now that he's playing at the second string, like, does he feel like he earned the spot and then just will kind of relax? Or is he gonna keep that crazy crackhead energy that he was playing with last week?
For real, like, because he was nuts. I was yet again rewatching the game a million times, and every time I see it, it's just game-wrecking energy. That's where maybe do they bench a Rasheem Green at the very start, right? We know what this veteran can do. Put Travis with the starters. He was showing you last week he does not deserve to be out there with the backups. And yeah, does he have that, as you said, crazy crackhead energy this week? I like, because yeah, the dude was playing with his hair on fire. That's the number one backup that I'm watching this week. But PayPal, we went back to the way that we are, where you have Javon Dexter as a defensive tackle to watch. I have Zach Pickens. Why are you watching Javon Dexter over Zach Pickens?
Because honestly, Javon, he just has that potential, and I'm just looking to see. He didn't have again, like some of these players didn't have a wow play to me exactly, and I think Javon was one of those guys like we didn't watch and was like, wow, like that's what he's made of. I mean, there's times when you're like, wow, that's a big boy out there,
Yeah.
but it wasn't like you didn't see him just completely just, take over a guy and then just get a sack. He didn't do anything that completely disrupted the other team's offense. So, is he going to make a play? Is his pad level going to be a little bit lower? Um, is his knee okay? uh,
Yeah, for real.
but like, yeah, I'm excited to just kind of see, has he improved a little bit? Is he going to make a play like did the last game? Is he learning from, honestly, is he also learning from Yannick Ngakoue of like learning the chop move? Because apparently that's what Yannick Ngakoue has been teaching him. So is he going to break it out? We'll see.
Yeah, those are some good points. For me, Pickens, I just want to see the quickness. I want to see another big play out of him because yes, his sack, he's got to probably give some credit to Dominique Robinson because it was going to be a stunt and it was a well executed stunt. Pickens ended up playing well and getting the sack, but I would like to see Pickens maybe blow up a run, get some more penetration, more consistent penetration, because rewatching it, I really wasn't that impressed with these rookies. I know that might seem blasphemous from some, but I think that they have a lot of room to grow with their potential. And I know Bears Bones in the comments said too, is Dexter going to be as high as he was last time? Not smoking, but just a high pad level. Because I agree with him on that, where yeah, he looked way too high up there and he needed to get lower. And that's where these guys are still very young, still have a lot of potential. That's why I like Pickens. I like that we both had different ones. But our last ones, in the secondary, you have Elijah Hicks, who might be starting. Him and A.J. Thomas might be starting this week due to the injuries. But I have Terrell Smith, speaking of injuries, because he went back to practice this week. I hope we can see number 32 out there. Imagine number 32, and we have Tyreek Stevenson out there, maybe at the same time. Maybe Jalen Johnson gets that Veterans Day. Maybe he's one of the starters that has the day off. I'd love to see that, just to get some tape on Terrell Smith out there. It'd be great to see those two rookies out on the same time.
Oh my gosh, that'd be great. And I wonder who would be kind of the top dog out of both of them. Like, would they just target Terrell Smith? Because obviously Tyreek Stevenson with Jalen Johnson out there, it was Tyreek Stevenson all day.
Yeah.
But it's like, are they going to start targeting Terrell Smith? Is it going to be a 50-50 if that does happen? But yeah, like Elijah Hicks, A.J. Thomas, I don't know how much we could really talk about them. But I mean, Elijah Hicks, I think he looked good. Kind of proved that he is a good backup last week. It'd be cool to see him make a play because that kind of separates him, of being just a backup to kind of starting or, being that highlight player. But honestly, honorable mention, I still think Dominic Robinson, is cool how little he played last week because it just shows the confidence that our coaching staff has in him. And I just want to see how much he plays this week, if we can see a little bit more reps from him, because when he was out there, he perfected that stunt with Zach Pickens and really helped the rookie get that sack. So kind of looking forward to see if he makes another play.
Love it, love it, love it. So PayPal, let's go over to the offensive side of the ball. And I want to know, everyone watching on YouTube, key thing, not named Roshan Johnson. What backup
Oh gosh.
offensive player are you most excited to see? Because PayPal, you and I have basically the exact same list on these backup offensive players. Because you sent me your list this time around rather than us kind of making it a surprise so we could do the graphics. And as I'm doing this, I'm like, crap, I have like the same exact list as you do, because going over to it, obviously we have Roshan Johnson, the guy that everybody wants to watch. Is he going to be the starter out there with the first team out this week? Roshan Johnson, we both have Tyler Scott, we both have Velus Jones, and we both have Ja'Tyre Carter. I guess, who do you want to break down first? Because I'll let you choose.
Yeah, I mean, I'll do Roshan Johnson. I think he was kind of, if we're talking about a player, I feel like a lot of people are talking about Roshan Johnson this week and just his physicality. Like in his interview, like, I don't know if you saw, he had like scratches on his neck behind his ear. They almost looked like bear claw scratches or something. But
Jeez.
but it was so cool just how he said he just uses his body as a weapon. And like when you watch him play, like we saw him last preseason game, was he definitely does that. Like he's not just saying it just sound cool. Like he's like putting his head into defensive linemen like to block him. He's running with the full head of steam. I want to see another breakout run from him. That 20-yard gain, Brad. I know I
So
said it
pretty.
last week.
So
It's gonna live in my head rent free because it was awesome. It was so cool. So can he do it again? Um, I think if I'm being I want to kind of critique, like hopefully I think he was not too good on his route running. There was that one route where he's
yeah.
going to the left. It just wasn't very crisp. Or as crisp as I would hope so for like a, if he's fighting for that number one spot. But that's kind of all I have to say with him. His hands are great for a running back. And then his speed and his strength is awesome.
I love it. I can't wait to watch him. And I think it's cool too, because I know there's a lot of people out there that watch this show that say they fully expect Roshan to be the starting running back. And they want that to happen. And from what we're seeing, if he can block, the dude is going to deserve this job one way or another. Because if he's playing with fire and Khalil Herbert's playing with fire because he keeps letting up sacks, Roshan Johnson could definitely secure this. And we already know, we've heard so many amazing things about him, the person. You love to see it. But also, we talked about Ja'Tyre Carter a little bit already. You said how much you loved watching the tape on him, myself included. And you said that he could be the starter and you'd be fine with it. I think I still need time to get there. And that's why he's a big person on my list, because I just want to watch more and more reps out of Ja'Tyre Carter, because he's forced to get a lot of these valuable first team reps because of the absence of a Nate Davis. But speaking to people that might not be doing themselves very well, two people that did not look good last game, Tyler Scott and Velus Jones. Can they both be wide receivers? Let's see what they can do. I still want to see a deep bomb to Tyler Scott, and I still want to see Velus just field the punt. Keep him out there in punts. Yes, he fumbled one, but I think like it's preseason.
Yeah.
Have him do it. Have him get over his fear and show like just go get your punt, get underneath it. Don't just let it bounce.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's perfect. Like Tyler Scott is funny. I remember watching the game with like you, and it was like, just Tyler Scott when he got hit that first time, it was like it looked like he just got blown up, and he just did not realize how strong these players were. And
Yeah.
then I watched. I love the Chicago Bears. They do that. All the media stuff they've been doing, and they had a video of him on the sideline being like, "Man, they are hitting a lot harder." Yeah, he's like, "They hit a lot harder now," and it was like it is so true. I guess we just read him really well on the TV, but yeah, like can he kind of adjust. I think he won't adjust this quick to, we're not going to be seeing all these slant passes to him and stuff, but can he get hit correctly? Like something little as that. Like, is he going to hold onto the ball now and like kind of avoid contact how Mooney does it? Like Mooney's like the same weight, but he doesn't look like he gets annihilated every time he gets hit. So yeah, and two, that deep ball would be awesome. If that'd be a great way for PJ Walker to get, get his name back on the map, or on my good side is throw a deep ball to Tyler Scott.
Yeah, and not a deep ball interception like he did last time. And
Yeah.
and also too, going against the Indianapolis Colts this week, and I don't know if they're like doing full tackles or not, but being hit a little bit harder this week, hopefully that teaches him as well. Yeah, don't sometimes, like we said after the game, we're like, just go down, man. That's what you got to do. Don't try and be a hero. We've seen this with Kevin White. Don't be a hero, man. Just go down. But also, our last guy, the only time that we deviated from each other was at the left side of the offensive line. I have Alex Leatherwood, number 72, that I'm watching. You have Larry Borum. Why are you watching Larry Borum?
Yeah, he actually didn't look too bad last week, and that was something I think we were all kind of shocked about. Was like, hey, he didn't just get bull rushed the entire time. Um, his running game can definitely still improve. I think I'm just kind of watching on both sides of the balls because the passing game he looked great. So I'm just gonna kind of keep an eye on him on the left side of the line, number 75. Basically, does he look like a serviceable tackle? Because for in my mind, I said it before, but I think Tyree Carter locked his backup
Hmm.
guard position already.
Yeah.
Like he looks the part already. Obviously, it was just one game, but still he looked phenomenal. So can Larry Borum kind of for sure be that backup tackle if we need to, I'm thinking about that 53-man roster. Can he kind of solidify that?
Yeah, and I love that. And Borum, I didn't absolutely love his game. I know PFF had him as like the number one tackle rated, but he still kind of gives up a little bit too much ground. But yeah, like you said, didn't let people buy him as much as I think people expected him to. Again,
Hmm.
backups, but still, that's why he's the swing tackle and not the starting tackle for us. But also, I'm watching Alex Leatherwood. I said this after the show when we recapped the game, that to me, he looked good pass blocking, which is great. Let's see it again. Do the same thing. Don't let up a single pressure this week again. But the run blocking to me was very poor. He was able
Yeah.
to be pushed back like crazy. People were pushing him back into the backfield. He looked really bad there. And especially, we'll talk about this with the backups, the third and fourth string. There's a couple people that I think are going to be hot on his heels at that guard position. I also found it interesting. None of us brought up centers. I think we're going to be talking about those next because Lucas Patrick and Cody Whitehair, my guess is I don't think that they're going to be out there. So PayPal, let's go to the third strings and the fourth string. So these guys, it seems like they're going to be playing a lot more than they did before. So this is going to be the most important part
Yes.
of the show so that it can be enjoyable on this offense. PayPal, we haven't talked about centers, and you kind of have two of the centers on your list. Break down why you're watching Dieter Iserland and Doug Kramer.
Yeah, especially Doug Kramer. He's one I'm looking forward to. I didn't really watch him last game. But from what I heard is he did pretty well.
Yeah, it wasn't bad.
Yeah, he wasn't bad. Like he's still that smaller center. So it's those little things of like, is he getting pushed back? Does he look like Mustafa out there where he's like Doug Kramer's kind of that technical, smart, center, but he's small and undersized. So it's like, can guys just push him around? That'll be definitely something I'm looking for at Doug Kramer. Dieter Iceland, yeah, I'm assuming he'll probably be the backup to Doug Kramer. Kind of looking for the same thing. Like, does he look good out there? I it's hard because Dieter Iceland, it's like, where does he fit? I think this
Yeah.
would if he beats out Doug Kramer, I think that would be the only way he could fit on this team is at the center position at this point. I mean, with how you're saying with like Leatherwood, like he doesn't look like terrible, like he looks still pretty decent. So does Dieter Eisen kind of is he going to try and steal that Doug Kramer center spot?
I would actually almost go. I'm curious if he would actually take a Leatherwood spot, just because when I'm thinking about what do Carter and Leatherwood not do, and that's play center. So that's where I'm also curious too. Like, would he even be in the consideration of that, right? But I know that he does kind of give that practice squad vibe to himself. But yeah, I like it. I'm also curious to see how they end up playing them with the injuries. Like, does Luggs, I think, is the other guard. That's kind of the backup. Does Dieter then purely play center this time around so that it's just Doug Kramer for the first two and then Iceland for the second two, just so that they at least have, or for the last two, just so that there's at least a starter that's out there. It'll be interesting for sure. Also, PayPal, because I saw that you have Treston Ebner out there as the running back, even though that I'm kind of like jumping to that. I saw that he didn't practice, but something that I thought was really interesting is just how little we don't have a lot of running backs on this roster. Because here's a name that I think a lot of us have forgotten, and that's DeMontre Tuggle. If you remember, he was the backup run. He was the fifth string running back that was on our team out of Ohio, who was in practice squad. Like, we really don't have that running back this year.
Yeah, right.
Where we don't have a Tuggle, we have Homer as the guy who's probably going to get those touches.
Yeah, it's hard because that's the thing. It's like Homer will get the touches, but it's like he's not fighting for really a running back spot. You know what I mean? He's kind of fighting for just staying on this team for special teams. And then, like, honestly, I don't mind him as like if he did ever have to come in as running back. He's one of those guys, like, he has a really quick burst, but then it just seems like he can't get to that next level. He always trips. So or anytime he gets contact, basically he just falls over. So it's almost like a Ryan Grant of the Green Bay Packers back in the day.
Oh man!
But
talking about random names, Ryan Grant, I haven't heard that in forever.
Yeah, but it is interesting. It's like we kind of have our running back room set. It's just kind of, Treston Ebner. Unfortunately, I kind of wish to watch him a little bit more, but yeah, he's out. But man, Brad, one guy I don't know if he's on your list, but one guy I'm so stoked to look for is Tyson Bagent.
Yes,
just to see,
he's on my list too.
I'm assuming now that we kind of have this. Hopefully, we get like 2 quarters from him. I
love that.
Nathan Peterman doesn't need to be out there anymore.
Give him the second quarter. Give PJ Walker first. Yeah,
he does not. Nathan Peterman does not need reps with this team. I mean, like, you can say what you want. He does not need reps for this team.
Yeah.
He's a veteran. He knows what to do when he gets his name called. So
we need the Bagent pageant. Like, we need multiple quarters of this man. We need the hype train to leave the station for the Bagent pageant.
Yeah. Like, can he kind of just do what he did last week? I mean, he was 4 for 5. Yeah. I think that's not enough reps to be like, hey, like, we can't just be like, oh my gosh, he's something yet. Like, we have that little taste of him, but like, we need to see almost like 10 passes from him or a little bit more. Like 2 quarters would be awesome.
And going against better competition too. And
yeah,
I've said this going at training camp. I want to see Bagent throw a deep ball, because what I was seeing at camp is the guy can't throw a deep ball. He's good at that. He's a West Coast quarterback. He's quick. He's got like enough athleticism to escape the pocket. He has a decent little zip to his ball that's in the short and intermediate, but the deep ball, I want to see, can you throw it with the big boys out there? So that's where I do have him on my list. But my offensive lineman, because I have 2 offensive linemen on my side that we have not brought up yet, and that's Logan Stenberg, the left guard, number 71, and Kellen Diesch, the left tackle, 78. Now, Kellen Diesch, I've said this before, a guy that I really like coming out of the draft, but very lightweight. And you see him compared to the other offensive linemen, you're like, is that a tight end? He's like 6'8", but he's got tight end arms basically. But he looked really good in the preseason last season. The reason why the Bears ended up getting him from the Dolphins. I think that Kellen Diesch, I want to see more out of him because I wasn't in love with what I saw with Avion Collins. So that's why I kind of want to see a little bit more out of him because I hope he could be something because I'm really rooting for him. But the other guy also on the left side. So just look at that left tackle, left guard, Logan Stenberg, the 4th rounder out of Kentucky that we got from the Detroit Lions. I'm curious to see how good is this player as well, because we talked about Alex Leatherwood. This guy could push Leatherwood for a spot if he ends up playing well in this new system. So that's why those are two guys that I'm really looking forward to on the line. But I'll bring up one more, and then we have one common player. I'm bringing up Lachlan Pitts at the tight end position, the undrafted rookie free agent that we ended up getting. I've talked about him. I've broken him down. Good receiver, not a good pass blocker, not a good run blocker. You and I both watched the game and we're like, ooh, that was a bad run block. Yeah. And I think that he's new to the NFL. He's new to everybody. He had like a week of or like a couple days of practice before going in with the big boys. I want to see what a full week of practice for this guy can do to him. Can he beat out a Pinckney? Because Pinckney also did not look too good. After Mercedes Lewis, we're really weak at the tight end position. Yes, it's a 4th stringer that we're talking about, but you should see your 4th stringers playing well with other 4th stringers.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think that's a great one, Brad. Who is going to be that 4th string tight end? Like if we need one in a pinch, basically. The last one that we have in common, Brad, is Nasimba Webster. I mean, I kind of was talking about him in the beginning. You know, we both kind of talked about him, and it's like we were like, kind of flirting with the idea that it's like, he could make the roster because he's just consistently good. And it's like with Velus and Tyler Scott, just like getting turnovers, that is such a big thing, especially with Eberflus, where it's like that's a big no-no. So putting it in, technical terms, a big no-no. It's like Nasimba Webster he's consistent. And honestly, I wonder, Brad, if he's going to get like a punt return rep or a kick return rep.
That'll be interesting because I don't love the idea of him getting a kick return rep, to be honest with you, just because like what I said before, I think he gets one, but I want to see Velus out there. I want to see Velus redeem yourself. The best way to get over it is just exposure. Get more and more reps. And if you fumble it, then we know, no, you're not going to be returning. You have to be a wide receiver now. Otherwise, your butt's getting cut. And I had Simba Webster also because I saw Justin Fields throw a touchdown to him as well against the Colts. And he's all reliable. He's all reliable. And when you look at the other wide receivers too, Darius Fountain, what can he do? That's another person. Ford and Reed both had some pretty good games. But what wide receivers can be pushing EQ St. Brown and Dante Pettis? Because I don't love that. Or even Velus, because we've talked about that. Velus, is anyone going to be pushing him? I still feel like Velus isn't going to be on the chopping block because he's been solid. But at the same time, I was looking back at Bears stats last offseason, and here we had Daz Newsome. Remember Daz? We're like, there's no way they cut him. It's his second year. Cut. So, Velus, be warned. But PayPal, let's flip over to the defensive side of the ball for the bubble players. And with this, we have 3 of the same players like we did, or we had 4 for another one, but we had 3 out of our 5 are the same. And those 3, you could probably guess them. They're Travis Bell, DeAnthony Jones, and Kendall Williamson, the safety. And PayPal, you have a lot of safeties. I think you put a bunch of the backups that are now probably going to be starting or playing with the backups now because of the injuries and people being benched. But PayPal, break down Travis Bell, DeAnthony Jones, why you're excited to see number 73 and 63.
Yeah, Travis Bell. Like, how can we not be excited? Like, he had the play last week. Sure, like he wasn't the only one to generate pressure there, but man, it was you could feel when he got that sack last week, and Bears Bones ring the Travis Bell. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's got to be a celebration, like he's ringing a cowbell or
I love
something.
it.
Yeah, or hitting a bell or whatever. I would love to see him do that, but yeah, I don't know. You just felt the excitement when he got that sack. You see Justin Jones was so hyped for him. Um, just kind of see if he makes some plays again. Like we saw him kind of do well in the passing game. Like, yeah, can he stop the run? Can he? Because that's honestly a guy his size. That's what he's going to be kind of used in this league for is
Yeah.
taking up blocks. So can he kind of fulfill that nose tackle, so to speak? Even though it's a 4-3 defense, but can he kind of act like one with his size? But D'Anthony Jones, Brad, I I think we both agree of like I like his size for this defense,
Yeah.
like I think it works with our defense of yeah, he's not the tallest and lengthiest guy as like an edge rusher, like, but he fits that 4-3 of like that DeMarcus Walker where it's like he's a big boy where it's like he can almost play like inside almost like a 3 tech because he's kind of he's 260 I believe, so he's a bigger 276. Oh geez, so yeah,
Yeah. He's a big dude.
he's a big guy. So and he had what I think you mentioned it last week, he had like 25%
It was
pass
nuts.
rush win rate. So yeah, he'll be fun to watch as well.
I also just adding on your comment about Travis Bell, I'm actually curious to see what is going to be his true position because you talk about the nose tackle and we talk about how he is built like an Andrew Billings, but he's also very quick and very explosive at his size. So, yeah, where is the spot for Travis Bell? Hopefully he can be out there in the third quarter and we can just see more reps of him and DeAnthony Jones as well. I remember too when we were watching the game, we were hoping for overtime or we're hoping for extra plays like when Roshan went out of bounds, like right before the first down marker, we're like, great play, more defense, more Travis Bell, more DeAnthony Jones. And the other unsung hero, I'm going Jalen Harris, number 59, the other defensive end, because he also had the same win rate as the DeAnthony Jones, but was like not as talked about. And I think he had a sack and a half, I think it was. And that's where I think overall, if you've learned one thing with listening to this show, watch the defensive line. If you're ever like, who should I watch on defense? Just watch the defensive line because when the backups are in, that's where the storylines. You got the rookies, and then you have the people fighting for the roster spot. Then with this bubble, you have a bunch of unproven players that have some really interesting traits and have had success at the college level. I think that's the big thing. They've had success at the college level, and they're hoping that that translates to the NFL. So yeah, watch the defensive line. But PayPal, you have on your bubble, watch the safeties. You have 3 safeties. Basically, break down all the different safeties that you have us watching.
A quick thing, Brad. I'm gonna change. You asked me earlier how many sacks we're gonna get. Bears Bones asked it too. We're getting at least 10 sacks.
10?
After like if
Oh,
these
man.
backup guys are playing all game, we're gonna get 10 sacks, Brad. You just got me hyped up for
I'm going 6. I'm still gonna be optimistic. I'm gonna say 5, 6. But yeah, 10.
yeah. I think you just you hyped me too much with this. 'Cause, I mean, you look at it. D'Anthony Jones had a great game. Jalen Harris, great game. Terrell Lewis, great game.
Yeah.
All the edge rushers had great games. So yeah, can they do it again? But yeah, I had a bunch of secondary guys. Braylon Jahan was awesome. I mean, you mentioned him earlier, and I had no idea who he was. And he just is that high energy guy. Like he's just fun. Like I sadly enough, I don't think I could see him get on the roster yet, but like it's awesome seeing him make these plays, and he could be a great one of those sneaky guys on like our practice squad to like look forward to in the future. because man, he made plays when he had the chance to. He kind of capitalized on them. Basically, whenever he got screen time, whenever a safety kind of came into the frame, he did something. So I'm hoping Kendall Williamson kind of does the same, because he was the guy I had high hopes when we drafted him, because it's like he's a smart guy out of Stanford. Like, he's 24 years old, I believe. He's a super senior, so he should be, football smart already. It's just, can he, adjust to this NFL speed? So I'm looking forward to see if he makes plays, because I didn't see a lot of him last week.
Yeah, same here. And I need to watch the all 22 on the defensive side of the ball just to see the safeties, because safeties can definitely be hard to see. And then the other one too, I know that you have Adrian Colbert, the veteran. And yeah, he might be there in the second quarter now, or like third quarter, because of just the injuries. But
yeah, he turned our head. I think. I mean, it's one of those. He's an older guy, but heck, like, he made me convince myself, like, heck, maybe we do need more veteran leadership in our secondary. I mean, he's lined up as a safety, in the depth chart, but I'm pretty sure he's playing nickel corner at the time, and played he hit the guy hard and forced a fumble. Like, it was great thing. It was great to see him do that. And honestly, just making plays like that, I'm like, all right, like, let's sign this old guy up on this team.
Yeah, and I know you talked a little bit about AJ Thomas, but I think that's going to be so interesting with these safeties, because who is that fourth guy? And AJ Thomas, he has a big opportunity to show, hey, I know that you drafted this Williamson guy, but I'm better than him. You can stash him on the practice squad, and you can keep me on the active roster instead. And then, Colbert coming in being like, I'm a good vet. I can play well. I can play the nickel. I can play the safety position. But yeah, the last guy on the list that I have, Micah Baskerville. We'll see where he comes in. I could see him coming in the third quarter. Number 47, the linebacker. We've said it ad nauseum. There is a battle for the very bottom end of the linebackers, and Baskerville is trying his hardest. He's unleashing the hounds. He got an interception in training camp this week against the Colts. He's doing everything he can to be a player on this active roster. We'll see what he can do, because he played decent last week. But PayPal, I don't know about you, but the more that we are going through this, the more I'm like, yeah, this is going to probably be a backup game. It feels that way to me.
Yeah, it feels like a backup game, but I'm not complaining about it, Brad. I want to see these backups. I think it's weird in the show. Like, I'm obviously excited about our starters, but I think at this point we know who our starters are, and I think that's the whole point of preseason, is figure out the unknown of, like, these players, these young players, and see where they can fit. So, yeah, try these young guys out. Try out, PJ Walker, try out Tyson Bagent, try out all these guys that we still are kind of figuring out who they are and can they fit in this team.
All that I know is I hope they give Roschon Johnson, like, I hope that Roschon Johnson plays for at least 2 quarters, at least, because, right, like, what Deonta Foreman does. You want to see Khalil Herbert block, but Roschon, give him all the snaps that he can. Give the man his snaps.
Agreed.
Let him show. I want to see him get 100 yards. Let's go, Roschon. I want to see him do some great things out there. But ladies and gentlemen, we will be posting our list out there all across social media. So make sure to subscribe out there on YouTube so that you can see that, and also every single subscriber is 1 extra passing yard for Justin Fields. And follow us on social media. We'll post everything out there too, and rate the show 5 stars on Apple Podcasts so you can enter in to get a Darnell Wright jersey. Ladies and gentlemen, week 2 of preseason football is going to be on us. And with that, Unbearable Sports Podcast, we are out.